After watching both Star Wars trilogies for the very first time, I can finally say I'm a fan now. And ever since then, everyone's been telling me the same thing. You have to watch the Clone Wars. People say it's the best Star Wars story the franchise has ever told, but they also said one thing that made me hesitant. Just get through season 1. So today that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm watching the Clone Wars movie in the entire first season, in chronological order thanks to this guy, to see if this story actually earns the hype. I want to understand Anakin even more. I want to dive deeper into the lore. And most importantly for this video, I want to know if season 1 gives me a real reason to keep watching. So with that in mind, I jumped straight into the series. Going into the first season, I was honestly excited. After my last Star Wars video, I fell a little deeper into the fandom than I ever expected. Watching clips, TikTok edits, and YouTube videos, it all hooked me into the franchise a little more, and it made me curious about what else have I been missing. So when I finally hit play on season 1, my expectations were really high. Right away, season 1 puts familiar faces front and center. Anakin, Obi-Wan, and someone new, Ahsoka. This version of Anakin immediately stood out to me. Maybe it's just me, but he almost feels like a different character than the one we saw in Attack of the Clones. There were moments I thought, yeah, that's definitely Anakin, but there were also a lot of moments where he felt calmer, more controlled, and more sure of himself. But I also liked that he wasn't just a Jedi in this one, he was a general. Seeing Anakin make decisions that affect entire squads of clones kinda changed how I saw him. In the movies, he always seemed like he was treading towards the dark side, especially in Attack of the Clones, but the show really makes him seem a lot better. And honestly, my headcanon for right now is this: having a Padawan grounded him. Responsibility forced him to slow down, to think before acting, at least a little. Then there's Ahsoka. At first I wasn't sold on her. She was kinda impulsive and cocky, but the more I watched, the more I liked her. Watching her mess up, get corrected, push back, and slowly earn respect made me root for her. And I think I started to understand her role in the story. She's there to kinda reflect Anakin. In a lot of ways she reminded me of him, especially early Anakin. And watching that dynamic play out was fun, but it was also uncomfortable at times. It almost felt like I was Obi-Wan watching history try to repeat itself and hoping it wouldn't. And knowing where Anakin's story eventually goes, that reflection made me question her. And speaking of Obi-Wan, he still seems like the same character. He's still calm and still composed, but this time around he's way more sarcastic. And it's actually pretty funny. But seeing these characters brought up new questions for me. Where has Ahsoka been this whole time? And does her absence change how I'll see Anakin later on? Those questions are gonna stay with me until I finish this series. But the biggest surprise for me was the clones. At first they were just nobodies to me. They were just background characters meant to shoot and miss. But this show completely changed how I saw them. They started getting names, personalities, little human moments that felt significant to them. And once that happened, I started caring about them. Way more than I ever expected to be honest. Because in the back of my mind, there was always this weight hanging over everything. Again, I knew exactly where this was all going. I knew about Order 66. So every mission started to feel heavier. Every joke, every moment of loyalty, every time they followed orders without question. It all felt like borrowed time. I started thinking this show wasn't just telling me more about Star Wars. It was trying to make me care about the characters more so the tragedy would hit harder. How do you go from loyal allies to the ones pulling the trigger in the end? That's another question that's just gonna stick with me. Season 1 also starts widening its scope. We finally get to see the other Jedi, something I've been waiting for. And with them, a range of leadership styles and philosophies that made the Order feel bigger and more complex. And when those episodes worked, they really worked. But not all of them landed the same way. This season definitely feels episodic at times. Some episodes feel essential, like they're laying important groundwork for what's coming. And others feel more like side missions, only there to expand the world rather than moving the story forward. And while I didn't hate that, the inconsistency stood out. And honestly, that's probably this season's biggest hurdle for me. Grievous and Dooku are also here, but they don't really dominate the season. Right now they feel more like looming ideas than active threats. Dooku mostly exists in the background, giving orders, pulling strings, and moving pieces, but rarely stepping into conflict himself. I know he's supposed to be important, but I just haven't seen it yet. And Grievous just honestly hasn't impressed me at all. He constantly shows up, loses, and then disappears. Which is strange considering how terrifying I thought he was going to be. The one real exception for me was the episode where Dooku gets locked up with Anakin and Obi-Wan. That episode was genuinely fun. The episode gave him more personality than anything I've seen him in, to be honest. But so far they haven't earned that threat level for me, and I'm really hoping the series lets them grow into it. Ironically, the enemies I enjoyed the most weren't even the Sith. They were the battle droids. They're dumb, they're self-aware, and they're genuinely funny. And that humor went a long way for me, because when some episodes leaned a little too episodic, the droids kept things watchable. They honestly gave the season way more personality. So by the end of season 1, I wasn't blown away, but I was interested. I cared about the characters, I kinda felt the weight of the war, and I could see the foundation being laid for something bigger. Yeah, the episodic structure holds it back for me, and this show clearly asked for patience, but when the season worked, I really did enjoy it, because it made me think about where all this was heading, about how these relationships fall apart, about how loyalty turns into tragedy by the time you reach Revenge of the Sith. Season 1 didn't convince me that this show was great, but it did convince me that it could be, and that was enough for me to keep going. So now I'm moving into season 2 with more trust, more curiosity, and a better understanding of what this show is trying to do. And if this is just the beginning, I want to see where it goes next.